Melbourne able to do what no other side has managed to do so far this season, which is beat Geelong. The Melbourne coach, Simon Goodwin, joins you on ABC Sport. Goody, good morning to you, or good afternoon now. I imagine you wake up this morning with a smile on your face. Thanks so much for your time.
Yeah, no worries, Matt. Yeah, it's good to be on, and you certainly wake up with a bit of a smile on your face after a win like that. But it's all part of us building towards what we want to achieve as we go ahead in the year.
So how significant does it feel to you, a win that solidifies your spot in the top four against a fellow contender? How much belief and confidence does that give the group to what you're trying to build?
Obviously, we've got enormous respect for Geelong for a number of reasons in the way they go about their footy, but they test you out in all phases of the game. And we went in with a clear plan in all those phases, and we knew we needed to be good in those. But I think with the ability to execute those is going to give us great belief in our game moving forward. We've still got things we've got to work on and grow and get better at, but we certainly know that last night we were able to stand up against one of the best in the competition.
I'll put Lingy on the spot this morning. Goody, I'm going to put you as well. 5-14 to three-quarter time, 5 straight in the final term. It became a match of moments, and I'm interested which one kind of stuck in your memory the most. There was Caleb Windsor, there was Max Gawn's 60-metre bomb, there was Cozzy Pickett cutting through traffic, Harrison Petty's marking, Jake Lever's intercepting, Clayton Oliver's return to form, Bailey Fritsch's dribbler. I can keep going. Which one sort of stuck with you the most?
Yeah, it was one of those games where, for the first half, you didn't look either team were going to take their chances, and then both teams had some unbelievable highlights in the second half. But, I certainly loved the way our skipper stood up, certainly late in the game, not only defensively, but obviously to slot a big goal at the start of the last quarter. And there was a period in the game when momentum had shifted, and at three-quarter time we needed to respond and see if we can get that, upper hand back in a half. And I thought, Max Gawn's goal from outside 50 certainly did that for us.
Goody, really appreciate you joining us today, and well done on the win last night. The Cats have been so efficient, and I think of last week in particular. I think 45 inside 50s, and they kick 100 and something points, 113 points. How were you able to slow them up? How were you able to reduce that efficiency so well last night?
Yeah, sort of the way we play, Ling. We certainly knew that was an area of the game that we needed to be elite in. Ability to slow opposition up and defend the ground in a way that makes it really difficult for teams to score. And it's something that we've built over a 4 or 5 year period. And if you watch Geelong play, they are elite at using the ball. With Myers and Close and Cameron and the guys getting forward of the ball, they are incredibly good at being efficient inside 50. And if they get the quality of entry that they need, they're going to impact the scoreboard. So it was really important for us to defend in a way that enabled us to do that. But at the same time, I thought some of our real fights to the death in our D50 was outstanding. And it's a part of the game that we want to be good at. It's normally when you go and watch Melbourne, that's what you want to see. So, but we knew we needed to be elite at, and we were.
You spoke about Max Gawn and the influence he had. I love the little decisions that coaching and coaches make throughout a game, and the brave decisions. I look at them and see them as brave, in that Max Gawn was always going to be crucial. But you needed to get, I imagine, a few minutes rest into him in the last quarter and keep that run in his legs. How hard is that as a coach to say, okay, I would love Gawny just to stay on the ground and never ever come off, but I also need him fresh and jumping and strong, just to bring him off and put Jacob Van Rooyen into that ruck for a little bit. How much do you wrestle with that decision?
Oh, it's something we plan heading into the game. We need to make sure Max is at his best in the last quarter, and even earlier in the game, we were prepared to give Max, good stints on the bench just to make sure that he had that energy late in the game. Probably in years prior, we probably would have rucked him for whole of quarters, and we've just made a real conscious plan that that's not going to be the case. We need to share that load, and Jacob's done a terrific job in the ruck for us in the last 6 or 7 weeks. He's actually become quite a really handy second ruck, so we've got enormous trust in that. But I think you see with that management of Max, his ability to have impact late in the game is really important for us. He was once again, in that last quarter, an incredibly important player as a leader for us, with full of energy.
And Goody, as you continue to try, and you mentioned about growing your game for where you ultimately want to get this team to and add those layers, the forward line, even in a low-scoring game, seemed to be functioning a bit better again. The form of Cozzy Pickett, Harry Petty's marking, how did you see that, and why was that able to come together last night, I suppose, is my question, when at times Harry's probably been a little off his best form? How were you able to bring him back to have a night like last night?
Yeah, look, we certainly like the way our forward line's evolving, and I think some of the ball movement that we've been able to work from the back half and through the middle of the ground is certainly helping our forwards. But, we're starting to get a group of forwards that are really quite dynamic, and you speak about Harrison Petty in terms of his form. We were really happy with his game last week. He didn't have a huge impact, but he was so close to having a big game early for us. And if he grabbed his chances, he probably would have had 5 shots at goal last week. So to see that come out in his game this week with another good week of training, we're starting to evolve our front half of the ground with Daniel Turner, Harrison Petty, Jacob. They're all good players, air and ground. So we feel like we're setting up in a way that can enable those guys to thrive. And it's going to take some time. They're all young, but that's part of our game that we're going to continue to evolve.
Melbourne coach Simon Goodwin is with you on ABC Sport. You mentioned Max Gawn. Is he one you're going to have to manage throughout the second half of the season, Goody, given the huge responsibility he carries on his own shoulders?
Oh, we're going to have to manage all our players. I think, one of the things that you want to make sure you do as the year goes on is make sure you manage your list in a way that you're playing your best footy and you're growing your game at the back half of the year. So he's one player that we'll continue to manage both during the week, within games, and also, look for those opportunities if possible to give him a full rest. But, right now we're in a part of our year where we've been able to get a couple of good breaks on the back of some short turnarounds to manage him in a way that, he's going to be at his full capacity at the moment.
Goody, just to jump in there, is that something you've learnt to be smarter about over the last 2 years, where you've had great home and away form, but obviously the finals haven't quite ended up like you've wanted them to, about nurturing that list through to be healthier come September?
Oh, there's no doubt that's a big part of the planning, is how you get your list to be fully functioning at the right time of the year. And, you speak about last year as an example. We felt like we were in a really, really strong position and starting to build our game and get our personnel into a really great position. And, you do need a little bit of luck. We lost, 3 of our forwards right on the last 2 weeks heading into the finals, which was a real challenge for us in the front half of the ground. So, yeah, you can manage them as much as you like and get them into a great position, but you still need that element of luck just not to lose them right at the right time and have that full list available when it matters.
Off the back of last year's final exit, Simon, it feels like there's been a blend of experience and, I guess, some regeneration with this list. To see Woden and Windsor, Laurie, who was the sub, Howes, McVie. It feels like they're coming in with the key additions of the key pillars in which we've seen from Melbourne over recent years. Has that been very much a conscious decision to try and get to that next level?
Absolutely. We wanted to regenerate on the run and build our next side that's going to be capable of really challenging for that premiership. And we're not afraid to bring youth into the team and get games into them. We've had 5 guys last night that played under 10 games, and that's in addition to also Judd McVie last year, Jacob Van Rooyen. You see guys like Trent Rivers and Harrison Petty still building their games in their position to take us to the next level. And that's what it's about. It's about evolving your team into a team that's going to really challenge right at the pointy end of the season. And, a big part of our youth is developing that at the moment.
So here's your chance on national radio. Caleb Windsor hasn't had a Rising Star nominee. It's a bit surprising, isn't it? I don't think Ling's on that committee anymore.
You always, when you coach players, you're a little bit biased in this space. But, for a first-year player, what he's been able to deliver, in a position that, you don't get sort of a heap of possession all the time, but his ability to execute his role and have high impact when he gets the ball is, something that we certainly value. But I'm sure the selectors of the Rising Star will grab his attention at some stage.
Not me anymore, Goody. Not me anymore.
Jeez, he's keen to clarify, isn't he? I guess the other one, Simon, to ask you about is a lot of the off-season did focus on Clayton Oliver, your superstar. There was speculation as to whether he might find his way outside the club. 31 disposals last week. Obviously, he had the hand injury leading into the bye. You've only played the 3 games this month. Is that the level of footy in which you needed to get him to in order to be playing his role in what you hope is a premiership contending side?
Yeah, look, he's done an enormous amount of work, and it's been obviously well documented, both on and off the field. And when he came into the team, it was all about building trust and being a great teammate. And in his first 3 or 4 weeks, he was able to do that. And then he had his finger injury, and his form probably suffered a little bit. But since that's been fixed, you can just see him. Last night he's really close to being right back to his absolute best. And he's just buying into everything that we do, and he's loved by his teammates. And he's going really well.
So have you seen the off-field, what you wanted to see from him? We only get to see him on match day, but from your point of view, the improvements in which you're looking for?
Oh, absolutely. And that's a part of what our environment needs to be. We need to care for our people. We need to really help them and help them off the field and make sure that they, can be, live a great life. And Clayton's put in a stack of work along with, some of the senior management at our footy club to put him into a fantastic position. And we couldn't be proud of the way he's going at the moment.
And just the broader around the fixturing, obviously there's been some sides who have come off the quick turnaround. Your challenge, as we mentioned, was the fact you played that Anzac Eve match, then you had the 10-day break. You play Carlton now and they have the quick turnaround. So it does feel like the fixture is going to have some different challenges throughout the season to try and make sure you're managing it as best you possibly can.
Yeah, look, every team goes through those challenges. We're certainly not immune to that. We've already had one where we had a 5-day break playing 2 games away from home in Adelaide and able to navigate that fairly well. So we feel like we're well set up in that space. We embrace those sort of situations, and a massive opportunity against Carlton on Thursday night. It's going to be another massive game. 2 teams very close to each other on the ladder and looking to improve. So it's going to be a great battle come Thursday night. We'll be ready.
And you were on the boundary last night, just over 50,000 in attendance. Lingy was just sitting alongside you. It was some atmosphere, wasn't it, for what felt like a real final shaper. It's the only time you played Geelong in 2024, but the atmosphere was incredible from the Melbourne fans.
Oh, it was incredible. It's great to see our supporters find their voice. I think that last 40 minutes of footy, there were highlights everywhere, 2 teams just wrestling momentum back and forth from each other. And, we're playing some absolute cracking games against Geelong, and no doubt that was another. We're starting to build a real good rivalry and in close games against real high-quality opposition. So they're great games to be a part of.
And we had Craig McRae yesterday, the Collingwood coach on ABC Sport. He said he was watching you, Geelong and Carlton particularly closely. Is there someone you're watching over the last couple of weeks or in the next few weeks that you feel like is the benchmark at the moment?
I was just looking through the competition in the last couple of weeks. It's, there's probably 7 or 8 teams that are all so even around how they played, and the whole competition's so hard. So I think everyone's looking at each other, looking for how they can improve and where they're going to get their edge in the season moving forward. But, it's probably from this moment on, it's the teams that can continue to improve the most and evolve and come out the other side and set themselves up, a little bit different from the way the opposition want to set up.
Well, a crucial 4 points last night. Best of luck against the Blues. Thanks as always for your time on a Sunday, and we really appreciate it.
Thanks, guys. Thanks for all the support.